Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Dee again, and welcome to the Interstate with Dee. Today is Saturday, March 8th, 2025. Welcome back to our trip on the Interstate. What we do here is present news from the state level that will end up having national importance later, or news that made it into the national news cycle but was overshadowed. Then we go over some questions from y'all. On this date, March 8th, in 1817, a constitution was adopted for the New York Stock and Exchange Board. Space was rented at 40 Wall Street. It originally traded 30 stocks and bonds. This led to the New York Stock Exchange. So, we're going to do a little bit of summarizing here. Pretty much every state is upset with Elon and Trump terminating the leases of government facilities in their state. They know it will hit the economy. A similar situation exists when it comes to the trade restrictions enacted by Canada in response to Trump tariffs, which may or may not actually be enforced. The announced tariffs have been paused, rolled back, and amended repeatedly over the last few days. Okay, and on to the news. In Alabama, the possible closure of the Federal Department of Education is already causing concern. Jim Purcell of the Alabama Commission on Higher Education said, quote, "In the short run, I encourage all of those currently supported by the Department of Education's funding and services to prepare for disruption." In Alaska, the Senate president, who is a Republican, signed onto a letter saying that Trump's policies endanger the economic prosperity and social well-being of Alaskans. In Arizona, the drive to create a highway honoring Donald J. Trump failed in the Senate. In California, a man was arrested for allegedly stealing $25,000 worth of Lego sets from Target stores. Also in California, California State University Northridge's Project Rebound raised more than $30,000 this year. Thank you to everybody who helped support that wonderful project. In Georgia, there's a new push to change the legislation around Stone Mountain. The goal is to shift the focus away from the massive Confederate monument at the location. Kentucky's bourbon industry is concerned about Canada's response to Trump's tariffs. The economy in Kentucky could be hit particularly hard. Officials in Maryland seem to be gearing up to crack down on the habit of some people allegedly registering their vehicles in Virginia to save money. In New Mexico, it's being reported that the measles outbreak has claimed another life. The first death was in Texas. Elsewhere in the state, Trump's rapid closure of government facilities included a nuclear waste management office. After outcry and calls from senators, the decision was reversed. In Ohio, it's being reported that over 30% of the state's egg-laying poultry production has been destroyed. The governor is urging federal help. RFK Jr. seems to be against pursuing vaccination. In Rhode Island, another federal judge has ruled to extend the block on Trump's attempt to freeze funding appropriated by Congress. In Texas, state legislators are quietly shifting their opinions on cleaner energy. It turns out Texas needs more energy to keep up with demand. Republican legislators are shifting to a lukewarm embrace of renewables. In Wisconsin, about 60% of voters say they don't know enough about the candidates for Supreme Court. The election will determine the balance of the court. And here's your weird state fact for this week. The state of Maine is famous for blueberries. It produces 99% of blueberries in the U.S. Maine's also the only state with a one-syllable name. Okay, so moving on to the question and answer portion of the show. Question number 1. Regarding the Supreme Court race in Wisconsin, should we be following closely even if we don't live in that state? Should we at least all make sure that all of our friends know the name Susan Crawford and try not to mention the other guy? All of the state Supreme Courts are important, and Wisconsin is one that will probably feature prominently in the future. As we learned from the last Supreme Court race in Wisconsin, name recognition is really important. Promoting the name Susan Crawford and not mentioning the other guy might help propel the more liberal candidate to victory. Question number 2. Howdy, y'all. Just wanted to put this on your radar. SB 5041 in Washington is a bill that seeks to allow striking workers to access unemployment benefits. Like anything, there are some requirements before a strike would qualify. However, this could be a massive boost to labor in the state. I don't figure I need to explain this to the channel, but I'll lay it out anyway. The threat of a strike is what allows labor to bargain at all. If labor can't afford to strike, they can't make good on that threat, and the boss knows it. Being able to collect a meager unemployment check while fighting for a good faith negotiation is something every worker needs. I'd guess that D might be interested in this one, but I know the channel appreciates labor rights, so I'll let y'all fight over it. First, it's not a fight, at least when I read the email first. Okay, so the arguments on this one are simple. Employers can often just wait until strikers run out of money. Giving striking workers access to unemployment benefits means it's harder for the bosses to just wait. The other side of the argument is that unemployment benefits come from a fund that is paid for by employers. For some, it seems silly for employers to pay for strikes. Some could call it silly. Some might call it awesome. Okay, that looks like it. We'll see you next week for another trip. Y'all have a good day.